people who were the sort of people that I would hang out with because they used to move around a lot.
Right.
And, so then I feel like stepping out a little. And now they're just carbon copies of me. Nobody steps out ever. They have their cocoon and nobody will, and I was like, okay, so there's nothing wrong with me. It's just we create such an intense energy field that it's just not rewarding to get out of it anymore, like
Right.
unless you step out of the city and go into nature or something. So I
Yeah.
do get out a lot, but straight away out of Bangalore, very rare that you will ever find me going to like Indiranagar or, Kalyan Nagar or something like very unlikely to step out into Bangalore.
Right.
Everything gets home delivered. Thanks to God for that.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, we all develop aversions to go to specific places in Bangalore because it's just so crowded and noisy. I think these are the main reasons. Like a
And
lot of
yeah,
us
and
are
when you're sensitive to energy, it's even more, right?
true.
I
Absolutely.
mean, I remember stepping into Bhutan a few years ago, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how this. I don't understand how to mute this. I'm not able to find the mute option for this particular. Arjun, if you can help, that would be
Device.
nice. Yeah, I think there's some issue. Anyway, yeah. So you were saying something. Sorry.
Yeah, I was. I mean, I've always known the impact of energy, but I think it really hit me when we went to Bhutan, because we drove over to the country.
Oh, wow.
And it was like 5 minutes ago to now, I'm like, how is this place so quiet? And I wasn't talking about the audible sound. It was just,
Right.
it was, and my mom was with me, so we always compare notes. That's how I know, that I'm really lucky like that. Otherwise, I would have just thought I was a lunatic I did consider that at some point. But you just know so much, which doesn't make it like, how are you supposed to know that? Why would you know that? But then, oh, you know it too. Okay, so I'm not the only one. I'm not nuts,
Great. But I mean, 23 years into Reiki, like how has it been? Like, I know this is a repetitive question for you, but I just want to know, like, just like in a nutshell, how has it been for you as a healer? Like personally, how do you feel
I think
about this journey?
I think I learned it young enough to not know who I would be without it,
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, you are just looking at 23 years of Reiki, but then there's been the rest of my life before that also was meditation and stuff. So, I mean, I literally don't know any other way to live, so I don't know if I have a fair comparison. I think a lot of my students who have experienced what I call normal life and this abnormal life, they have a better perspective. But for me, it's literally all I've ever known. And I think I consider myself fortunate that we did end up having a very robust medical background as well. I grew up
Right.
inside the medical community, right?
Correct. Yeah, you told me that.
And stuff. So that, otherwise, I don't know what I would have done without that kind of background. Even now, I'm like always messaging my sister and asking, she's a scientist. So I'm like, what does this mean? And she's like, that's not the right approach, that you're being dogmatic right now, or whatever. And she's like, this is what it is, and this is why this is needed. And she works with bacteria, which
Okay.
is very useful in these
Right.
times.
Great. So I would actually like to start off with like the very basic difference between these three modules that you usually like take up. One is Reiki, the other is past life regression, and the other third one is hypnotherapy, basically. So can you like broadly tell us like what is the difference between each of this, and just because we are curious to know about it. So.
Yeah, Reiki. See, I always compare it like this. Like, we take bath every day, right? I hope anyway, most of us, you know, very hard to tell nowadays. But I mean, I assume at least we all agree that one must take bath every day,
Yes.
right? We can agree on that. And we are supposed to clean our house every day.
Right.
But what about our minds?
Mm.
And energy is probably too abstract for most people to register, but also what about your energy? So we are not cleaning the parts of ourselves which actually gets the most dirty.
Mm-hmm.
which is the mind and the energy field, you know. And so according to me, Reiki is more like, I just call it the jhadu pocha of the soul. You know, you just, that is something you just do every day, you know. And then I call these other systems like the acid wash. You have these stains that, you know, it's like just you've been sweeping and mopping for like 3 months now, nothing seems to be making any difference. So
Right.
then you applied this, what I call acid wash. Well, past life regression, I learned it more out of a novelty because I had already seen past lives even as a child, and I kind of wanted to relive those more clearly and stuff. It was a, you know, it was not the right intention to be going for a past life regression with, but it was fun when I learned it. However, over the years after that, I've come across like so many more effective methods, which are like easily 10 times more effective, you know. So most of
Right.
the people that come to me for past life regression, I usually discourage. It's the most expensive therapy I offer. And I'm like, I can give you the same results cheaper, faster. You know, let's not waste your time and my time. Let's just get this over with much less drama, you know.
Right.
So, but hypnotherapy is, we work on the subconscious mind. And a combination of uh, hypnotherapy, and there's this thing called EFT, which is a tapping system.
Right. Yeah.
I blend the two a
And the
lot
two
to create
to
this, you know, absolutely insane bunch of results. Sometimes, like getting rid of lifelong phobias is usually just a one session job, and it's like there's something I don't even consider challenging. It's just like routine, you know.
Right.
The very first time I tried EFT, I got rid of a guy's stage fear, you know, in like
Right.
15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
This guy who used to stammer, I thought he didn't know English.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this is a, मतलब कहाँ से कोई आया होगा, इसको English नहीं आता है. You know, he used to stammer before. It was a yoga teacher training.
Right.
He could not speak in front of 5 of us pretending to be a yoga teacher.
Oh.
And this guy, after a 15-minute round of this tapping for phobias, he eventually did the role of Hiranyakashyap in front of 100 people and gave an extempore speech, because you could not script that. You know, he had to shout it Prahlad that I am this and I am that and everything, 5 minutes shouting. He did it flawlessly, like no problem, you know. So
Right.
so that was the first time I did it, zero experience. And now after, you know, decade and a half of experience, you can imagine what that must be like.
I'm sure. And another thing is like, I'm sure this is the most commonly asked question to you. You know, what, like, does it really work? That's, I mean, of course, all of us have that question, but you know, this whole thing of somebody who is like, who is absolutely not aware of these things. You know, what is that one thing you tell them usually, like, because probably like let's suppose, you know, a situation where I have told a friend of mine, hey, it worked for me, but you should also give it a shot if you're having an issue. And, you know, and that person is very reluctant of, you know, going for it. So I'm sure you've had situations like this. So what did you do right for them to sort of enroll with you in some sense and also get healed in the process, like through your sessions?
See, getting healed is not a big deal. If they turn up, then that's, I don't actually waste my time convincing anyone, because the results
Okay.
speak for themselves,
Right.
you know. So I mean, the one thing you learn very early on in critical thinking is to not dismiss other people just because they don't agree with you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest mistakes the educated classes make today, and I mean, I understand because I was raised in a convent school also, so I grew up with the same judgments towards myself. So I've had, for me, it's been an inner battle.
Right.
This part of me that knows everything, can do everything, and the other part is like, come on, that is just please, that does not work. And I'm like, but I'm seeing the results, but it does not work. Come on, you know. So I have that inside.
Right.
But I think the one thing I would just say is, don't pretend that everyone that's experiencing results that you wouldn't imagine possible is dumb. You know, there are a whole lot of people, like my mom is a doctor. How did she start believing? You know, fine, I'm an engineer, you know, but I mean, they're doctors. There's so many doctors, scientists who believe. So are they also dumb? And how are they getting results? You know? And then there's, of course, this whole misunderstanding of placebo.
True.
And because nobody can make money out of it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not on the scale that the pharma makes money today, anyway. But think about it. Uh, I have to say on the outside, I'm not saying that Reiki is placebo. I'm not. I'm just
Mhm.
saying that it is still something that we need to explore.
Right.
Assuming that you think Reiki is all placebo, let's address that, right? It's
Yeah.
not, but let's address that. Now think about it. We have a group of people over here. Let's say we are 20 people, okay?
Mhm.
And I'm doing a study, and I give half of you a very powerful drug, right?
Hmm.
And I give the other half of you a placebo.
Right.
And the same number of people get healed in both groups.
Hmm.
Which group would you invest in studying? The group that is healing from the right medicine, which will end up having a whole bunch of side effects?
Mhm.
Or would you invest money in studying the people? How did these people heal? Why are these people healing with actually zero real intervention? Right?
Right.
So my question has been, even if you assume that Reiki is 100% placebo,
Right. Right. Yeah. That's the
why would
usual.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, why would you choose a system that's going to confirm to give you side effects? I mean,
Hmm.
if I could pay money, and because placebo does have a huge impact also, right? They have done
Of
sham
course.
surgeries. The most popular knee surgery in the US was tested against sham surgeries, where they just make a slit and pretend like you got an operation, but actually nothing was done. And they both
Wow.
had the same results.
Wow.
That does not mean that surgeries are useless, because they weren't asked to sit home and rest as opposed to getting the surgery, right? That
Mhm.
process is needed.
Hmm.
Even if it's the illusion of something happening, that illusion is needed for you to get well. Now,
True.
would you rather actually have the surgery and, have your body waste all that energy in now repairing the tissues and then having the associated side effects and all the medicines? Or would you rather just be one of those people that got a cut, got it stitched up, and now you're all fine and you've recovered much faster than everybody else because the body didn't actually have to waste energy in repairing all those tissues?
Hmm.
So if Reiki was placebo, I think you should jump both arms and legs and say, because there's no harm at all, right?
Yeah.
So, and if it's not, then it is a system that actually works,
Right.
which it does. And I'll tell you why I believe that Reiki is not placebo. Because if it
Mhm.
was placebo, then we should have been getting results that are on par with medical science in the very least, or below, right? Because you're assuming that medical science works.
Hmm.
So if out of 100 people, say 30% get healed purely on placebo, right?
Right.
And your medicines actually work. So let's say around 40% of people, that remaining 10% of people are getting healed because your medicines work, right? So you're having 30% results placebo, 10% results your medicine.
Right.
So if Reiki was purely placebo, my results should be on par with or below
Hmm.
the medical results.
Right.
According to me, if I have even one single patient that defies that, you've got to sit up and take notice and say, how on earth is that possible?
Hmm.
Because placebo does have a minimum of 30% results. And I mean, my mother also, even before we saw any of the studies, she has led so many PGs and everything. She used to say they screw up all the time. And
Hmm.
even after the wrong treatments, 60% of people will heal despite the wrong treatment. That's placebo for you.
Right.
Right? She knows they've left all the pus inside, not done a good job at all, but then I mean, they still healed, you know?
Hmm.
So between 30 to 60% is an average result of placebo. And yet there are so many diseases which have 0% rate of healing. How
Right.
many people have gone to a doctor and healed from arthritis?
Correct.
But we have that happening all the time. Then how is that
Yeah.
possible? Like women, not being able to walk to my apartment the very first time, and they're like, one hand on one arm on son's shoulder, the other one on the who they walk like that, and 3 months later they're like, Ashwita, I walked to your place on my own.
Hmm.
Just because they're placing their hands on their body, please. I mean, if placebo was that effective, don't you think they would have put that faith in the doctor who has so many
Yeah.
more degrees and so much more credibility? They're like, the people have been to international doctors with whom you take 6 months to get appointments,
Right.
and I mean, if you couldn't heal from that, then what am I giving you that's different?
That's true. That's a lovely like perspective on placebo, in fact, and because it has been very misunderstood with this and that, they have mixed it a lot, and I have also heard this narrative a lot more. Before we can actually open to, I'm sure a lot of questions may be arising, in people's minds as we talk. So you can also like place your questions if you have, because this is an interactive session and we want to keep it like that. But before like we can proceed there, I want to ask you that, has it ever happened with you in your like experience where you told them that, you know what, you should go see a doctor for this?
All the
I
time.
can't sense.
All the
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not anti-doctors or anything.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can sound very anti-doctors a lot of the times because I believe that you need to go to doctors a lot less
Mhm.
than you actually do.
Hmm.
Like even in, I think it was Vagbhat in Charaka Samhita who has said like 80% of the problems you don't need a doctor, and you don't.
Hmm.
I mean, my students who are practicing Reiki, that is why I want to know, what is it like for average people? How frequently do you go to a doctor?
Right.
Because among my communities, of course, I am not taking into factor the people who are already on medication for thyroid and
Yeah.
diabetes and stuff. I'm not counting those people.
Right.
But a person who enters Reiki heavily, the average, and I'm talking about the average, there's people with below this, the average is 1 crore in a decade.
Wow.
We just never take medicines. I mean, you might take some homeo here and there or
Mhm.
some Ayurveda every once in a while, but I mean, that's pretty much it. You don't need it. Bacterial infections, yeah, fine, we'll heal. Viral infections, yes, fine, we'll heal. I mean, it's not like you never fall sick,
Right. Yeah.
but that's the whole point, right? I mean, when you fall sick, you train the body to fight the disease. That's all.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, how does it contribute, towards like a better mental health? For example, like, maybe one is not physically having a chronic issue, but it's something very psychological or something to do with a very deep rooted, like, unknown issue that, you are also probably not aware. So how does, Reiki or, energy healing sort of address that?
Very
Because it's a
interesting
very,
question.
because that's a very like elusive problem, right? You don't know it's there, but it's there, so how do you attend to that? A problem that you don't know you have. Sorry, this sounds very complex, but
Well, at the outset, I want to mention that there is no such thing as a problem without a mental, like you are one. It's like
yeah,
saying, can a system have a problem in the physics of it without having a problem in the chemistry of it? Like that's just not
yeah,
possible. You
right.
cannot even get a little cut on your finger. Like we can even make out where you got a cut on your finger. We can make out what's going on in your mind based on that.
Wow.
So like the mind is mapped to the body,
Right. Yeah.
you know. So there is absolutely no problem that can exist without something being wrong on the mind
Symptoms.
level first. But
Okay.
then there is 3 layers. There's the
Hmm.
physical body, there's the breath, and then there's the mind and body, the breath and mind. Yeah. So
Hmm.
depending on where the problem predominantly is, if
Mhm.
if if it if it is mainly on the prana level, that's when it becomes an undiagnosed illness. They just won't be able to make out what's wrong with you.
That's
Like
right.
you will have, like, for example, this mad stomach issue, but then every single test will be like, there's nothing wrong with you.
This happens.
So that's when something goes wrong in the pranic body. And that's exactly the sort of thing that Reiki can help with, because prana is energy.
Mm-hmm.
And also mind. Um, so it would depend on your level of sensitivity. This is like obvious for me, but I don't know how much you relate to this. But if you are in a calm place, your mind is automatically calm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're in this, like sitting in the middle of a traffic junction, for example, even if you're wearing, uh, noise cancellation earphones and you actually can't hear anything, you're blindfolded, but you still, the chances of you feeling peaceful over there,
Mm.
it's like your mind is bombarded with all these thoughts.
Right.
So the environment makes a difference.
Hmm.
Here you
Especially,
learn to change your internal environment, so you
right.
automatically start coming down. Like
Mhm.
one of the best meditations I've had is actually in the middle of a traffic junction, just standing there, totally spacing out, and like the level of peace was unmatched, even
Wow.
mountaintops. Yeah.
I think that requires a lot of practice or some kind of belief in, meditation itself to go that way. I think so.
Now
No.
meditation is a practice of dismantling beliefs, so
Mm.
not that part, but practice, you're probably right.
Yeah, okay. That, I mean, I do have so many questions popping, but I'm actually okay to also take questions from people who are, you know, listening to us. We are chatting away, and if you want to
Super
like
shant
interrupt us,
now.
and हाँ बहुत शांत है आज. Last time we
Yeah.
had more questions.
Last I was like, please stop. Like, I'm not able to answer. I'm like, khatam karne do, please, you know.
That's true, yeah. It happens, like maybe you know, sometimes questions sort of get clarified as you're
Mm,
listening, so I think that
yeah.
could be one of the reasons. But I mean, as people prepare for their questions, like how does it help, like I'm sure this is a very naive question, that can I have like a energy healing sitting at my home from you? Like, is it
Oh,
possible,
yeah.
a distant
Yeah, yeah.
healing? How does
Yeah,
that
yeah.
work? You don't need to be around the person. How does that work? Like,
Well, there are techniques that once you have established a certain level of practice, there are techniques that you learn within 3 months. It's really not complicated. It's very easy and simple. But the more somebody practices and the stronger their own energy field gets, it can be very, very, very intense. Like, especially a lot of teachers
mm-hmm.
with some sort of caliber. I'm not talking about someone with 2 or 3 years of experience, right? But
Right.
when you have some um, what to say, some substance in your energy field, not in that sense, but you know, when you've got substance, basically, what you can do is you can even just set an intention.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so even when you're consciously not doing anything, you're actually doing a lot. Like a lot of my students, they don't even know that I've done this, but then I get back a lot of feedback saying I was sick, Ashwita, yesterday, and then in the night I dreamt that you healed me and I'm fine this morning. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Did you know that you were doing it? No, I had no clue that I was doing it, but it was probably happening,
Right.
you know.
So
So initially,
intentional
again, I
living.
just brushed that off as, oh, maybe it's just their imagination, their faith in me. But I mean, you can brush this off once, twice. Like, how many times are you gonna say no, no? That's everybody is just imagining that Ashwita comes and heals them in their dreams. Please,
Oh.
it's a little too much, you know.
Your
But
true
yeah, I mean,
followers, perhaps.
so next thing I have to do is wear that Bhagwa Vastra and be like, yeah, now you can touch my feet. Thank you very much. But no, it's not.
But are you going to go that way? I'm just
No, no,
curious.
no, no. I don't see myself as a guru type of
Right.
person at all. I need
Yeah.
my freedom. Like I
Yeah.
had one person, I was meditating in a temple once, and it's
Mhm.
this thing, right? This
Right.
man comes and he's like, Devi ji, aap to bilkul matlab Anandamayi maa ne mujhe गोद में लिया, and you just look like her. You're like, you're amazing. Can you please come and take over my ashram? And I'm like, I'm a stranger, and like you've never, like, what?
Right.
And then I'm like, dude, are you really going to be fine when I wear a micro mini skirt and, walk around
Do
in
the
the
healing.
ashram? No, yeah, I need
Right.
my freedom. I'm like, that's so not happening. I can't fit the stereotype at all.
Right. 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 Lovely.
So,
So actually, there's a question in the chat. Someone's asking, how many sessions are required to get rid of habits that are halting one's growth? I mean, it's a very broad question, but
hmm,
yeah.
it would really depend on how many habits and how it's always where how deep rooted it is.
Mhm.
Like sometimes it is just trivial and stupid, and
Right.
then it's just like a 15-minute thing and you get rid of it and you're like, oh my God, my whole life has changed. But there are times if it's see, I don't use a lot of common terminologies. It's just my terms because, my ideas. I
Sorry about that. Purushat, can you mute yourself, please? Thank you. Yeah.
so I call them core beliefs,
Right.
the central foundation beliefs of your system. So if it is related to core beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
then it is even possible that you can't heal it, like not at all, but it's better, it makes more sense to learn how to manage that rather than to heal it, because healing will take it like a long, long time. Some things I've worked with on myself have taken me 20 years. It's not funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, what does Reiki heal? Venkatesh is asking, what does Reiki heal? Okay,
Everything
that's
and also nothing, I mean, I've had a case of fever which I could do nothing about.
right.
And at the same time, I've had this woman who was under chemo and her tumors were increasing despite chemo.
Mm-hmm.
And with Reiki, the tumors disappeared. So you get the whole spectrum. Reiki can bring about all kinds of miracles. I've seen people heal from depression, and I'm talking about months and months and months of depression, the sort that they're just like
Right.
watching. There was this one woman who wouldn't comb her hair. She
Hmm.
would never take bath. She'd just be watching TV. She's so fat, just sitting and watching TV all day. And parents are like, we need to get this girl married because that's Indian
Right.
parents. And the sister is like, please do something, like just do something. She doesn't do anything at all. One session is all it took, and 3 months later she was married. And I mean, not that they forced or anything. She was fine,
Right.
normal in just one session. And so I've like seen depression being healed. I've seen people heal from, like I said, arthritis, fibromyalgia, which is completely incurable,
Yeah, I'm aware
total
of that.
cure.
Yeah, I have a friend.
Yeah.
In fact, I have a friend. Sorry to interrupt. She had the same issue, fibromyalgia, which is like oversensitivity to touch. Apparently, right? It is
Mm.
broadly that. So, and then she definitely got healed through energy healing, like through a past life regression therapy. In fact,
Mm.
long, long ago. So yeah, she's completely healed, and in fact, she herself is practicing therapy now. Like she's getting
Yeah.
herself into the training of becoming a therapist. So that was an interesting correlation. There's uh, there's some chats that are coming in, but
I
guys,
have a
you're
question
open to
today,
ask. Yes,
interrupting.
Sarika. Yes,
Hi,
please go ahead. Hi,
hi,
thank you for
Sita.
joining. Yes.
Thanks for inviting. All right, so my question is really very basic. Can you explain the physics of energy or energies? Like, so we all talk about it, right? Energy healing, but just like what is the construct of it? What is, how does it work? Just like the basics, the physics of it, just to get an idea, just to be able to sort of maybe conceptualize.
Well, I'm not a fan of coming up with theories because I believe a lot of it, like science is not equipped right now to understand. Like they have no idea how telepathy works. And Reiki is like a lot more advanced than just telepathy, right? Even telepathy, like they have ideas in quantum physics, but they don't really know so much anymore. I mean, yet, not anymore. But having said that, I would sum it up very simply like this, if you look at the universe as a whole, there is a natural tendency to move towards balance. Everything that you look at, it goes out of balance, but then it comes back into balance automatically. So there's like this natural tendency towards balance.
Nature is constantly doing that, actually, if you see.
Exactly. But would we say the earth is in balance right now? Not really.
Not
Would
really.
you say our bodies are in balance right now? For the most part, no. I was actually looking today morning, my dad sent me an article where they've done a study on some women in the US, and they found that breast milk has 2,000 times more toxic chemicals than drinking water. And when they're saying drinking water, they just mean the acceptable limit, So, I mean, it's, what do you even say? So, the system is terribly out of balance. Like even right now, the message that is being sent out is you cannot possibly be healthy without ingesting or injecting chemicals into your system, which is, for me, that should be appalling. Like, how is that just normal for you? I mean, I understand immunocompromised people and stuff like that. Yes, you need help. But for an ordinary person to just like, it's just a blanket statement. It is impossible for me to remain alive beyond a year if I don't, have some sort of chemical intervention, stuff like that. So the system is not in balance. Now, the premise basically is that you just sort of plug in and let the energy do its work. That's why you can learn it in a day. Like if you're learning proper energy healing systems that work with your personal chi, you would need years of training and years of practice to strengthen your own personal chi, and then you can use that to influence other people. But with Reiki, that's not the case, because all you do is you kind of plug in and you tell the universe, you take care of it now, and then the balance automatically happens. So you can accomplish a lot more than you as an individual are capable of. And I mean, I've seen this in my life as well. 10 or 15 years into my Reiki practice, I reached a point where I was like, you know what, I'm not going to, because Reiki does lead to a lot of development of psychic abilities and stuff. So I would see stuff, right? So I'm working with a client and I'm like, oh my God, they have anger issues, or they have, problems with their they have stuff that they're bringing in from their grandparents, or ancestral problems, or, sexual abuse, or whatever. Something is wrong. This is wrong. And I need to do something about it. But some 10 years ago, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna interfere with that anymore. And that's it. Boom, the first session I did after that was a man with 8-year frozen shoulder walking out without the pain. So just in a half an hour healing, which is like, it defies common sense or physics. Like, how is that even possible, right?
Yeah, I think we all orient experientially. So I think it's just difficult to, explain to anyone without, an experience, unless we have had the experience ourselves. So just taking in other questions. Thanks, Surekha, for that question. And there's Siddharth asking, how do you know what to choose, Reiki or PLR? That's a very deep, and again, like a very complex question. It could take a session, I think.
No, just message and ask me. I'll help you out with that. Usually PLR is mainly for people who are just curious about what you saw, what you were in your past life. You were a whole lot of things, but you'd probably explore one or a couple of them in a past life regression session. But if you're looking for healing, I have, like I said, way more effective tools that can help much faster.
Great. Awesome. I think, Siddharth, that was a question. And Navdeep is asking, do you have to have faith and belief in Reiki in order for it to work? That's a question.
No, but you would need faith or belief probably in order to acknowledge that it was Reiki that actually helped. Because we've had people make statements that are as ridiculous as, I took 2 croissants yesterday morning. Maybe the effect kicked in now. Like, yes, it just decided to kick in the moment I put my hands on top of you. Like, okay, if that's what you need to believe, what can I do, So it works all the time. We've also healed people who had no clue that they were being healed.
Right.
And vice versa as well. Yeah, like, for example, once I was angry with my mom, like really pissed off.
You can be pissed off.
I have trained myself to learn how to be angry and upset and everything.
Wow.
To call myself stone face when I was a kid. But yeah, I was actually, this was many years ago, but I was angry, and 2 hours later, I'm like, I want to continue to be angry, but I'm not able to. And I'm like, okay, she is messing with me now. So then I messaged and I was like, are you doing Reiki for me not to be angry?
Oh God.
She said, yeah. I was like, oh yeah, I just want to be angry. I can't be angry. Like, I wanted to be angry, but I couldn't. So there you go. And this happens all the time as well.
I truly can't wish for you to have an opportunity to be angry. I truly don't wish that for you. But that's a very interesting story, that you figured out that how, because you are sensitive, you could figure that out. But
yeah,
apparently a lot of us cannot do that. Any other questions anybody else wants to do? Vishesh is saying, is it possible to do a little session right now? Maybe towards the end, we can do a little meditation.
Do Reiki on you, because Reiki is not supposed to be given free. And I'm not just talking from a theoretical experience, that it causes problems. Like, I've tried giving free sessions in the past, even thinking that, okay, this is not free because it's a little bit of advertising, right? So I'm like, technically it's not free, because when I get all those comments and clicks, it still counts as it just leads to too much exhaustion. I don't know what the exact underlying principle is, but it doesn't work out. But I can guide you through a little meditation where you can kind of get a taste of clearing out your energy at your level to some extent.
That would be so nice. Maybe towards the end.
I have one question for you. Could I ask?
Okay, cool. Arjun, and then we'll take up the questions in the chat. Yeah.
Have you ever faced a situation, because the energy comes from the universe and you're trying to heal somebody through Reiki, through the energy of the universe, it's not yours. So have you ever faced a situation where you're trying to heal someone through the energy of the universe and the universe rejected you towards that favor? And how did you overcome that? Have you ever faced a situation like that?
No, there is no such thing as not healing. I would assume that the worst situation is death, and there's nothing wrong with death. I know as normal people, we are like, oh my God, I don't want someone to die. But having worked with people on both sides, it's just part of life, So It just helps to smooth the journey out. Rejection, maybe I can say that it does get rejected by people when, see, there are times we choose problems in order to grow. And there are times you don't want things to get better because you need that to get worse still. So there are certain situations where the energy gets rejected. Not the universe never does that, but the person on their subconscious level will block the healing out, and you can't mess with it basically. So you have to leave it alone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Arjun. There's Venkatesh asking, pardon my ignorance, is there a past life? And how does past life therapy work? Again, this is again a very broad question, but quickly we can get some idea on that. For
It's
people
very
those who don't believe in
interesting.
past life.
No, it is very interesting that you asked that, because I just found out like less than a week ago,
It
my
was,
dad
in
was,
fact, Venkatesh asking. I'm just like propagating the question to you.
yeah.
Just asking the
So
question.
I just found out a week ago that my dad's neighbor, when he was a kid, the dad's neighbor actually remembered her previous life as a child. And then they went and found the house and verified that there was actually such a person.
Wow.
And she remembered, and they continued to treat her because she died very early. I think she died in an accident when she was 20 or something. So they continued to treat her like their own daughter for years.
Lovely.
So these kinds
So
of
there's
things
some
do
evidence,
happen.
yeah.
There
Yeah.
are in India. There's plenty of evidence. It's just, I guess it's to the credit of
Also
discredit of
because,
convent education that has trained us to just like blindly disbelieve all of it.
right. Also, I mean, these things like past life and, through our culture, we have like sort of been open to it, subconsciously, because it has been passed on, this narrative of past lives through, our culture in some ways. So I think that's why the cases are most found here, because people
Not
mostly
really,
believe, not
I
really.
don't know.
Okay.
The energetic, if you see the
Yeah.
energetic imprint of the earth,
Mhm.
India has a lot more support energetically for this. Like I've had people
Right.
who worked with people on across the countries, and there are a lot of Westerners that are actually open to this as well. But they've said a lot of the cases that come up in the West are just nonsense.
Mhm.
They said the cases that we've come across in India are a lot more authentic. So, I mean, there are authentic cases there as well, but the ratios they were talking, they were like, I don't know why this is the case, but Indian cases are more authentic. So it's not just beliefs.
Awesome. Awesome. And quickly, we'll just go through the questions that are showing in the chat. Reiki hypnosis, can it be done online? That's one of
Oh,
the
yeah.
questions.
Yeah,
It can be
yeah.
done online. Awesome. And Shahul asks, can we heal ourselves without knowing about energy healing?
Yeah, you can. Just like, I mean, you can end up doing a whole lot of stuff without realizing, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
you might end up applying some herb without realizing that was actually the herb to, fix your problem because you just felt guided towards it. So
Right.
there's a lot that we do without realizing it. And that just depends on how much your mind gets in the way.
Right.
Like you might fall sick. You might end up eating something that was like so not supposed to be eaten, but then you're fine after that. So you've essentially given yourself an Ayurvedic treatment without realizing, right?
Right.
So if your mind, that is why education can sometimes be a problem rather than a help. Not always, but sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Great. We have Monami asking, does Reiki help in controlling on every emotions and help in better decision making?
I don't
Does it?
like the term controlling every emotion, but the emotions stop controlling you. Yes.
Okay.
I
Well
mean,
put. Yeah.
it's unfortunately we have considered psychopaths to be the epitome of spiritual development in the world. Like a psychopath is a person who feels nothing.
Right.
And if you see a person who's unfeeling and unmoved by everything, you're likely to think they're spiritually evolved, whereas it's quite the opposite. I mean, even if you, so I had similar feelings as well. And I used to be really confused. I'm like, if you hear all the stories of all these big babas and sadhus and everything, all the stories involve them shouting at people. And you're like, if you're so calm and enlightened, why on earth are you angry all the time? Like small things happen, you just lose your mind and start shouting at people. And there's one fellow, though I think even Indira Gandhi went to him. He used to kind of kick you on your head with his toe.
Right, right.
You know? And if he does that, you're like super lucky.
I'm sorry, Nada, I don't understand why. Arjun, can you please help me mute all the participants who are not talking, please? Thank you.
Sure, I'll do that.
Yeah. I'm not able to find the mute option. That's why. Okay. Anyway, so let's go
Yeah.
to the next question. Monica is asking, can any medical issue which can't be diagnosed from doctors can be healed by Reiki?
Yes. And also, I would say the previous question,
Yeah.
can it help in better decision making?
Decision making.
Big time. Big
Hmm.
time. It expands your capacity to see a lot. So you would need, I mean, of course, unless you're taking Reiki healing, in which case it's a like very temporary thing. But if you start practicing Reiki in about 3 months, it's like people have actually come back and told me it's like I couldn't see before. You just have access to such bigger expanded perspectives. It makes a huge difference. So okay, so can any medical issue? Yeah, non-diagnosed medical issues all the time.
Right.
See, I'm not saying that everything does and will get healed with Reiki. I also have cases where it doesn't work. You know, that nobody has 100% result. But yes, I have case after case where, you know, doctors have no idea what's going on and they've been totally fine all the time.
Not working is a very normal phenomena. Like even in medical profession, like, some things don't work. Like some surgeries don't work out. So
Exactly.
not working, I don't think is very problematic in pursuing something. I think even in relationships, we are just like going for it, even if it's problematic. So anyway, in connection with that, Purushat is asking an interesting question. Karmically speaking, if two people relationship fall out, one chooses to heal and the other doesn't, do they have to come together again in another life, in another form? Can't the person who chooses to be healed be done with this?
Yeah. I mean, you attract people based on your energy. So if you have totally healed, they'll find someone else to play the drama out with.
Okay, that happens. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So does that explain a lot about relationships and our choices in picking partners?
Yes.
Okay.
Extremely. There are chances that the patterns you're living out in this life have already been done and dusted for like 15 lifetimes. It's very possible. It happens all the time.
Wow.
Like you'll be surprised. You have this, I don't know if you've seen Soul. You know, I found that movie so fascinating. I was like, my God, they kind of nailed so many aspects. You do have this typical energy imprint. Like mine, for example, is this totally not bothered, totally chilled out, bindas character. It was least bothered, but like I was checking out the part where I was choosing this life, okay? And people are so like involved, like I want that body and that, like this parents and that, and they want to participate in the selection process and everything. And I was like, Acha, how you guys are doing it? Okay, bye. I didn't even look, and I didn't know it was supposed to be like that, right? Because I deliberately did not educate myself about the whole process so that I don't get biased.
Right.
Later I find out, I'm like, oh, so that's how normal people do. Like, why would I waste my time with that? You know, and so I'm still not into details as a person in this life either, you know. So even when I see my past lives, I don't see details. And then there's like this detail oriented, like everything has to be in place. So you have your basic energy imprint.
Right. So you're saying that sometimes, many times, a relationship issue can be sort of sorted with, a session also. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
you're all taking mental notes of that.
You wouldn't need a past life regression because everything ultimately is reflected in the present as well. You know, so I often compare it to a kaleidoscope. You have an object in the center, it's being reflected in a million mirrors. You know, you've got the inner child reflecting something, you've got the ancestry reflecting something, you've got past life regression something, you've got something else, the body reflecting something. But you can solve the problem by removing the object in the center, and that's in the present, you know. So that's the fastest, most effective way of doing it. But yes, in some rare cases, it's not like past life regression does not have any place at all, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. There are sometimes that it's the easiest to just approach it through past life regression, but that's a lot rarer, especially for relationships. It's easier to work with this life.
Okay, great. There's another question. Can multiple problems be fixed in one session? Okay. What do you think about that, Ashwita? Can multiple
again,
issues, I mean,
yeah.
addressing one can solve many other related issues?
Whether
That's
you've
possible?
talked about it or not.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So because I mean, especially the way I work, I don't like setting intentions at all.
Mhm.
So even if you come and tell me, oh, I have this relationship problem and I need, to fix my marriage with my husband, unless it's an acute problem, like somebody has met with an accident, they need to get to the hospital and not bleed too much.
Right.
That would be a situation where I would actually set an intention, be like, just get to the hospital safe sort of thing.
Mhm.
But otherwise I don't. I'm like, yeah, fine. So it's just like, just switch it on and let the universe take care of whatever. And then you come back and tell me, oh my God, I had this health problem. I didn't even tell you, and just fine, it's healed. So it
Okay,
depends.
so
And there are also times that what you came to me with did not get healed at all, but then three other problems got solved, which you
Okay.
did not mention. That
Right.
also happens.
Nice. That's lovely. Arjun is asking, have you run a past life regression on yourself?
Yeah. I think I've seen over 100 around. So like the first past life I saw, I was probably 5 when that happened. And I had another spontaneous recall when I was 13, another one when I was 19. By the
Mhm.
time I went for a formal past life regression training, I had already seen 3 or 4 lives. And I think in that course itself, we ended up seeing some 30 or something. So, and then after that, we spontaneous. So I'm like, bhajan karte karte kuch yaad aa jayega. And then I'll see some into somebody's eyes and I'm like, hey, I know you,
Oh, wow, that sounds like something out of a film, like
You have no idea.
how do
We
we
live
know each
very
other?
weird lives.
Where
No,
do we
no,
know each other from?
we live very,
You
very,
feel very familiar. These are romantic lines, but apparently they are not. They could be
they're
real.
not. No. Sometimes they can be your worst enemies. Every single relationship where your first sight was, "Ah!" and then you're like, super best friends now.
Yeah.
That's because the previous one, they were your enemy.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And then the reverse also happens, right? You like someone first look and then they become
And
your
then you start hating them.
enemy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because last life they were friends and now this life they've chosen the role. Because people are always like this, who's my soulmate, Ashwita? I'm like,
Oh
your
my
worst
God.
enemy?
I'm sure you get
Yeah,
that a
no,
lot.
it's your worst enemy is definitely one of your soulmates.
Yeah.
The person you marry, whether they're soulmate or not, I don't know. But your sworn enemy is 100%. It definitely, because the best roles, like if you're making a movie, right?
Right.
The best role goes to the hero.
Mm.
The second best goes to the villain, not the heroine. It's the villain.
Right. Yeah.
Those are the two central people. So in your life, also the two central people are soulmates.
Great.
So your
So,
mother-in-law is more likely to be your soulmate than your husband.
wow. That's redefining soulmate, the concept of soulmate. Thanks for that. Michael is asking, can stress related to life and anxiety be cured through Reiki?
Oh yeah, yeah, like big time. And this is something that's even proven with scientific studies.
Mm-hmm.
But so there's two aspects of it. Of course, the energy itself is like very calming, soothing. It like
Right. Yeah.
relaxes you.
Yeah.
But then over a period of time, I actually call all of us Reiki people the spoiled brats of the universe, because you'll be shocked at how much things just go your way. We've experienced that state of flow, right? I'm sure at least some of us have just,
yeah,
especially artists,
yeah.
and
I've heard of that concept in art.
yeah, and
Related stuff.
artists and workaholics, I think they've both experienced that flow state where everything just works
Rahul
out.
agrees. He's raising his hand.
Imagine living like that.
Right. Yeah. Lovely.
So that's how you live, basically.
Mhm.
Everything just sort of works out. You're in the flow. So
So there's never a wrong moment or a disturbing
no, I mean,
no,
it
of
does
course
take
not. Yeah.
practice to live like that a lot
Yeah, exactly.
more. Like you can
Mhm.
fall out of it. So
Correct.
how much you fall out of it, it
Mm.
takes practice and self-work and all of that.
Makes
But
sense.
it's a lot more than you would have ever experienced.
And
So when this starts happening, then you just it kind of becomes like this reprogramming over and over, that things did work out. Even I got worried last time, that did work out in the end. So 10 times, 15 times, it took me 2 years to acknowledge that Reiki works. So I mean, you can be extremely hardcore, you'll eventually get around, but
Right.
sooner or later you're going to reach the point where you're like, yeah, it's likely that things will work out. And if you have that inherently, how
Right.
are you going to really stress out? Like there can be peripheral stress, but you can't really freak out because you're like,
Sure.
yeah, it'll work out in the end. I know, like, I know it's bad now, but in the end, it'll all work out, you know?
Right. Nishant Bali is raising his hand. Do you want to say something, Nishant? Yes,
Yeah,
over to
I
you.
have a small question for you, Ashwita. Sorry, my chat box isn't working. Half my screen is
That's okay.
dead, so I can't access the chat box.
That's fine.
So that's why I'm blabbering out here. Okay.
Absolutely fine. Yeah.
You said something about doctors not being able to diagnose a particular disease, but Reiki can heal it.
Mhm.
So do you understand the disease while healing it in Reiki, or do you just randomly, is it like
Good one.
it heals all diseases?
See, if there was a process of diagnosis and treatment plan involved, you could not have learned it in a day. Then that's skill based. Then
Oh.
if you go to a person with 20 years experience, you get a lot more than if you go to somebody with 20 days of experience. But that's not, I mean, yes, you do gain more in other senses, but I mean, you can still go to someone who's learned Reiki 20 days ago and you'll still benefit a lot, you know, because they're not the ones doing the healing, the energy is.
So it's like a magic solution to everything.
One size fits all.
Okay, thank you.
We were explicitly told not to call it magic when we learned it, because that is how magic, they like, don't pass it off as magic. It's not, you know, it's energy.
Okay, wrong word.
You were not told that, right? Yeah, but we used to be told initially, don't call it magic because it's not.
Oh wow, questions are pouring in. We probably
I know,
will have
right?
to,
Now it's getting fun.
Yeah, I hope all of you have some time in hand, because this session was scheduled for like 60 minutes, but we're going to take 20 more minutes trying to cover this as much, and then maybe next time in the next session we can take more. Vishesh is asking, is there a study or educational qualification to become a Reiki healer, or it's more of a self-taught skill and comes with experience? That's a good question. Yeah.
Very good question. You do learn it with a teacher. There is, and of course, it's not standardized, which has led to a lot of abuse. So people become Reiki masters overnight. Like if you find the right Reiki teacher, they can make you a Reiki master in 1 week or 3 days even. Like my students get these offers from other teachers all the time. Like, why? It's been 3 years, you still not moved to the next level. Like, just come to me, I'll make you master right now. And they're like, no, why? Like, what's wrong with you? But it's like so common. But on the other hand, I am also grateful because I would prefer it to be not standardized, because I mean,
Right.
you can't put a certificate on authenticity and in the authenticity of intention, you know.
Absolutely.
I feel it's far riskier with standardization and certification, because then the divinity just goes flying out the window.
That's
So
lovely. Thank you, for putting that out. It actually puts a lot into perspective about these alternative healing.
I've had calls from like husbands asking me if I can make their wives a Reiki master, and I'm like, okay, Reiki master. So you know, do they have some sort of spiritual background? Like, why do they want? No, she's just like, she's sitting at home, so I'd like her to make some money.
Oh God.
I'm like, I don't even know what to say to that.
That's pretty dangerous.
I like how honest, at least, you know, I mean, that at least he's not trying to pretend like it's not about the money, but
sure.
Like, yeah.
Great. We have another question from Purushart. Do everyone that we meet has been a part of our past lives in some capacity or the other? Or is it also what kind of energy you have and you attract the same? So, are we all connected? Like Ashwita,
Absolutely.
me, you,
Yes.
Vishesh, are we all like having a past life?
Absolutely. Definitely in one capacity or the other.
Okay,
for sure. Every single person that you have something clicking with.
Yeah.
You know, there is like, you can be in a group of 200 people and like really connect with just 3, and then, you know, have
absolutely
a sort of confusing connection with another 3, and the rest you like, you didn't even know that they existed.
Right.
And then there can be people who just like out of the blue reach out from the opposite ends of the world, and you're like, how did that even work out, right? Like even our connection, Ekta, was like, it just like kind of dropped out from the sky or something, you know. There was no reason for us to connect at all. So
right. Yeah, I'm sure all of us experience this, like suddenly someone is in your life and you don't know how this happened, you know, and it's just not like romantic partners or anybody. It's just any it could be anything in your work, in
Yeah.
your general life, like the kind of people you attract. I think this is an ongoing thing, you know. So we all have
Yeah.
experienced in our own like ways. I think. So there's another
There was a
question.
second part of
Yeah.
the question. What was that?
What kind of energy you have and you attract the same, or is it? I mean, is it about attracting the same kind of energy
Not
as you are?
really.
Okay.
That would, I don't know if I would put it like that at all. See, the thing
Mhm.
is, you are complex, you have a whole lot of things, but then you have come here with certain agendas. Like you're like, I'm gonna deal with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this life. Like, because there's so much, you know, like you just have to live as a human being once to end up having to clean up for 4 lifetimes. And then you can imagine every subsequent lifetime, you're creating even more crap. And then by the time you've finished like 10, you're like, okay, I have another 100 lives now to clean up this crap. And I don't know how much more I'll generate. That's why it's that initial lives, all you're doing is you're generating more and more attachments and problems and everything.
Oh, okay, right,
And
right.
then, and so the way I look at it, at least with Reiki, is that I feel that it reverses that. You know, in about 3 years of Reiki practice, you kind of stop creating more problems, and then you
Mhm.
kind of reach the 0 point after about like 3 to 5 years. You're like this, you know, balanced out,
Mhm.
and then you start reversing it after a point. So then you're like, everything that happens to you is creating more detachment than attachment. You know.
Okay, so that could
Hmm.
be taken as a sign. Okay, quickly
Yeah.
we go to the next few questions. Anjali is asking the principle of Reiki. I think she, entered the session a bit late, but let's address this. Where did it emerge as a technique? Like it
Japan.
has in Japan. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when we learned Reiki, we were told that Reiki is Indian because Reiki comes from Shiva, and Shiva is, of course, you know, the creator of the universe was born in
Right.
India,
Yeah.
obviously.
Mythology story. Right.
Yeah. So, but no, I don't know a single system in Hindu or Tibet or Buddhist
Mm-hmm.
systems that works the way Reiki does. Everybody works with their personal chi. Nobody works with universal energy. There's not a single system that I've ever heard of in Buddhist or Hindu teachings where you go stay in an ashram for one day, come back, and you can start healing people. I've never heard of something like this. So
Hmm.
it's new,
Interesting.
it's unique,
Right.
and I've done it for a couple of decades, so I think I can vouch now
Yeah.
that, you know, it does work. Otherwise, I'd have been like, okay, maybe it just actually screws you up instead. How would you know, right? We had to
Yeah.
learn the hard way,
Yeah.
find out for ourselves.
Okay, quickly,
Mm.
Monica is asking, in some cases, when we see someone, we get the feeling that we may have met them already before, but that will be the first meet in the present life. Can we go get to know who the person is using Reiki? Okay.
I would not really recommend it because, I mean, why would you want to? Don't you think it's more useful to actually drop baggage? Like in the relationships that you have in your life, aren't you more interested in like, how can I drop all these nasty memories? Like, why would you want to remember all that stuff? You know, you could, especially if you are capable of processing it. Like my mom has been my husband in my previous lives, and that's okay to remember. But I know that a couple of other people that I love very much, we've had most likely extremely abusive relationships, and I've not remembered a single past life with these people. And I'm like, yeah, I think I don't want to remember because I kind of have a clue. And I was like, if that was them, I'd rather not remember because this is really, really horrible. Because you have murdered people, you have been murdered, and much worse. So I don't think you always want to know.
Makes sense. Venkatesh is asking, is being healed by Reiki permanent? And just to get an idea, what's the duration of Reiki session and how much does it cost? I think the costing and all, we can take it, after the session. But the first part is being healed by Reiki permanent? Like, I would like you to address that.
Again, a very ambiguous question. It depends on how deep it was.
Mm-hmm.
The deep stuff heals in waves. You cannot completely heal it in one go. So then you would possibly, you know, heal it drastically, and then you feel like everything is sorted, you're sorted, everything is calm, and then the second wave comes up after a while. You know, so big stuff kind of heals in waves like that. But a
Okay.
lot of it is like a lot of the phobias and stuff like that, a lot of things get completely healed.
Sorted.
I've had One client I remember had 23 years of epilepsy before he came to learn Reiki. And in that one class, and it was just a normal, regular Reiki class, he learned Reiki. And then 3 years later, I think he met mom. And he was telling her that I've never had a single seizure after that. I was just completely healed.
Lovely.
23 years of epilepsy, just gone.
Great. We'll just take another question now. Karthik is asking, can Reiki be useful in understanding if the next job switch would work well? Like company's energy levels is balanced with my energy levels. Okay.
In time, yes. Yeah.
In time,
you
you
get a
can.
very strong feeling of energy with everything. Like when we travel, for instance, all of us, we can just look at a restaurant and know if the food will be good or not. We just look, like we've eaten in the smallest, tiniest of shacks, but we'll just know by looking,
Right, yeah.
No, this restaurant, bad energy. I mean, we'll look at food and make out whether it has been cooked with love or with resentment.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, this I'm not interested in, thank you very much. So you can start making out the energy of people, of places, and whether something is right. And having said that, I will also mention that not everything negative is necessarily bad. You have to go through some things. Maybe you have to go through a divorce. Maybe you have to go through a hospitalization or an accident. Maybe you have to go through a really bad, the number of people who've told me, Ashwita, I did this technique that you told me and my boss likes me now and used to hate me before. Like the number, I've lost track. I don't have a count of the number who've told me that. And yet one of my most long-term students, she suffered with an awful boss for 3 years. She had a night shift job. Like her life was hell. But she needed to go through that. So just nothing she would do was helping. So when you have to get into trouble, you just end up having the wrong information. Like I've seen people whose houses were burgled and they forgot to protect their house energetically on that one day. They do it every single day, but that one day they did not protect their house and the house got burgled. So it has, some things have to happen.
Right.
You have to go through them. So in that case, then you will not receive the guidance or you will receive the wrong guidance. That happens as well.
Right. So, I mean, just in relation with this, like, why do bad things happen to us? Just
it's not a bad thing.
like meeting an accident, losing an arm, like losing sight. Like, why do these things happen to us? I mean, I know this is a very vague question, but like, and in terms of energy or whatever, like, is it karma? Is there any theory that you sort of follow in understanding this aspect?
I want you to imagine that you're an actor. You probably, I think you are, right? But you're a very high profile actor. Okay.
That I'm not.
You have, yes, you have, access to all types of roles. What type of roles are you going to choose when you start out? And what choice of roles do you think you're going to choose after 10 years into acting? Are you going to choose the easy, boring ones? Or are you going to choose the challenging ones where you're a prostitute or where you have, you become Phulan Devi or something like that? Like what,
of course,
what
challenging
role?
ones. Yeah, challenging ones.
Yeah, it's the same thing with life.
Okay.
For the soul, this is just entertainment. See,
Crazy.
why is it so nice to choose these roles as an actor? Like, why would you feel safe in choosing a role like Phulan Devi, for instance?
Exactly, yeah.
Because nothing can touch you. And the soul knows that. Like, you cannot be hurt or burned or wounded or anything. Then why would you be afraid? So, the toughest roles are chosen by the advanced souls. So it's not like those like downtrodden, wretched people are because they're like, pakwas souls who have no experience. I think no, those are probably your baps, in the soul level.
Absolutely. And I agree with Purusharth. He says the actor reference was fantastic. I think, the analogy was brilliant. Thanks for, putting that perspective for us.
Yeah.
Yes, Bali, if we can quickly ask, and we have actually gone out of time, so we can probably take questions next time. But Bali, quickly, you want to share something before we...
I have a question. Reiki is about energy, right? Energy and the soul. Okay, so what happens to the Reiki energy I've collected after I'm dead? Is it going to be with me even after in my next life? And
Wow. Okay.
No,
Question.
energy cannot be created or destroyed or really stored in that sense. It's just about being in the flow. That's all. So, yes, you lose your resistance, right? The more in flow you learn to live, the less your resistance becomes. And then you're just like a little plastic ball or a balloon sitting on top of the ocean. You just bob up and down. There's no attachments, nothing. You just move from one place to another. Nothing can drown you. That's all.
So what happens to the energy after I'm dead?
Now that is debatable. In my understanding, it could be one of two things. If you assume that there is a concentrated ball of energy that moves from one thing to another, you would often, and I mean, I have reasons to, just like we have light is a wave, light is a particle theory, right? I have two theories about what happens after death, and both of them I've seen enough proofs. I don't know which one is exactly the only one. But on a material level, I believe, because things contain energy, right? Nothing really dies. There's no such thing as death. Because even after you die, you've got all the bacteria and the viruses, not virus, sorry, the bacteria and the fungus and all of those things that are eating your body. Your body is still alive even after you die. Nothing really dies. You just move from one form to another. So when that happens, there's a transference of memories, because things retain memory. Water retains memory, cells retain memory. So for example, you die, your cells get reabsorbed back into the earth, the memory gets recycled, and then it goes and becomes a plant. That plant gets eaten by another human being. The moment you eat that plant, you now have different memories. That's why they say you are what you eat. So in that case, I believe your memories would be constantly changing as well. If you were to tap into past life memories, you're tapping into the past lives of the cells that exist in your body right now. That's one way of looking at it. The other is, if you're looking at it as a soul, you do have a journey. And I mean, I have seen that journey for myself without actually knowing, without reading up. So it wasn't like knowledge was influencing my journey, but we have seen, like, there are people who come to receive you. A lot of people before death, first of all, a lot of people know that they're going to die. Secondly, a lot of people just before their death will start talking about their aunts or their parents who have already died. Like, oh, I see mom, I see dad, I see grandpa, because they come to receive them. Especially the more bacha you are, right, in terms of soul, the more inexperienced you are, you don't know how to go back home, the more you will have like a whole welcome committee to come and take you, remind you, beta, this is not like, you remember us, right? Come with us, come with us, come with us. You're like, no, but yeah, I like my house, like I just finished building that house, I want to stay there. Like, no, see, remember me, right? Love me, right? Come with me now, come with me. So you've got this whole committee that waits for you, and then there's a committee downstairs, as I call it. There's a committee upstairs where you like finally make the journey, and then so in this life, when you die, it's people from this life that come to receive you, your people that you know. Whereas like what I call the upstairs, you've got people from previous lives coming to remind you, do you remember, you were this in the previous life, and then you were that. Yeah, you remember. So you're a soul, you're not that body, remember? So then you're like, oh yeah. So that's when you go through like this amnesia, where you just like, now it's just one of many lifetimes, right? You're like, yeah, okay, so then there's this like the whole confusion on the soul level. You're like, yeah, fine. Then you rest and stuff, and then so there's like a whole journey that happens, and then eventually you've kind of run out of your resting time, and you get usually kicked back to. Nobody that I have come across so far has come running to earth. Like, we all have to be kicked. How badly you need to be kicked, that varies from person to person, but like everybody has to be like, okay, now go back already. Like, please, no, I don't really go.
Interesting.
Go, so we all have to be kicked here.
Lovely, a lovely perspective. Anix is asking, is that possible to send Reiki energy into the past to heal my present issues? Such an interesting question that is.
We do that all the time.
Yeah, that's a nice question, actually. Kind of complex, but yeah, I think it happens apparently, as Ashwita mentions. So that's and there's an interesting comment under that. That's some Tenet theory right there. So yeah, I don't know if you've seen the movie Tenet. Okay, then you should watch it, and you should tell us how you feel about the concept of time in it. We should probably do another session on Tenet because Tenet itself is a very complex, thing. I think we have, come towards the end of the session. And I see a lot of new faces. So nice that we've not known each other, but you've made it to the session. Thanks all for joining. And if there's any last question, anything, or rather like no questions, maybe make it a bit longer. But how did you feel about the session? Just for a little interaction, if you want to voice, get on unmute and say something before we all go, it would be so nice. Thank you.
I just have one question. I hear about this abundance block clearing and a lot of this energy, which releases your block to achieve the higher potential of yours. Okay. And when I was in US, I kind of did one of the sessions because those are very expensive. It's like $5,000 for like 2 hours. I'll share the name with Ekta. She can share. She was like world renowned, one of the abundance block clearance. I do it through mindvalley.com. So through them, I got it done. But it's pretty expensive, and staying in India and doing it in the midnight, it's not possible. And I'm not in US right now. So do you have something like that, like which gives you a very high potential? Because there are I kind of little been into the psychic space for quite some time and been into meditation, been into a lot of this stuff. So I just wanted to understand that, do you have an energy which stop? Sometimes I feel that there's something blockage, and I feel helpless that I cannot clip that block out. But I know for sure that if I clear that block out, there's an abundance things which is waiting for me. And that's where I fail off. So do you have something like that? Anything?
Something on
Well,
that, yeah, some question, like some.
you're confusing what I would call American spirituality with, let's just say, real spirituality, because it's not just Indian, right? In the US, money is God.
True.
So abundance is equal to more money, which is why they're charging something like 5,000. I mean, if you're truly abundant inside, would you be charging 5,000? I mean, maybe some would, but it's a little bit excess,
Yeah.
Why would you need to? Wouldn't you rather work with 1 million people and change those many more lives?
Yeah,
I mean,
I find
I
it
just
that's
don't. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it's necessarily wrong.
right.
Okay. But I mean, abundance just has one brand. Now it's just like everybody's abundance is pretty much the same. You're charging $5,000 for a session. You're making tons of money. You own a jet, whatever, 5 bungalows by the sea or something. And so that's maybe for you, abundance is losing your house, because that sets you free.
Right. It's a
So
perspective,
abundance and progress is really about realizing that none of this is real and you are not bound. That
So
is
I'll just stop
abundance.
you there for asking one more spin to it. So what happens? What my aspiration is that I'm kind of like I do a lot of this, startups and things like that. And then what happens is that I know that I can take one company to one level to another level, the shift and the jump, right? But then there's something in the blocks which fades me off, or I see it as a block. And I have discussed this with Ekta. We keep discussing about this thing quite a lot, that why it comes to like 90% or 95% for a closure, and then it fails 100%. So the effort for 95% is super, it's go with the flow. So as you said in the starting, it completely goes with the flow, like a miracle happening one step after the other. People are like jumping, and then like boom, it goes down. So what do you say that on that?
Have you encountered
You're
like
not gonna
situations
like
like this?
You're not gonna like what I have to say about this.
It's okay.
See, this I have seen happening when you do manifesting. Manifesting is actually against the flow. The flow is just the flow. You are not the creator anymore. You are the universe. I mean, like if I'm lifting my arm, for example, it's not this one molecule over here that is doing the lifting. The whole arm is moving, the cell moves along with that. So when you're in the flow, you're in the flow. And when you're in the flow, then things all work out and it will work out all the way to the end. But when you do manifesting, what happens is I've seen it happening like this. It'll go till 95% and stop. So if you're attending job interviews, for instance, you'll go to the last round and things will not work out. You'll not get the job. I've seen it happening with marriage. People will end up having, everything will work out till almost the marriage is fixed and then it stops. Or they end up marrying and then it's hell after that. So when you drop your desire altogether, the funny thing is, things just fall into place after that, because then that's the universe. I mean, we are limited beings. We're here to experience limitations. The more we try to experience abundance and expansion, we're actually going against the flow, because you're here to experience limitation. You want to become infinite, accept that you're limited and let the universe do its work. Then things just start opening up.
Interesting.
Nishan's finger must be
Yeah, Nishant, quickly, you want to add something, and then we will.
I just want to give an endorsement to Ashwita. Is that allowed?
Go for it. I mean, this is an open session. You can speak what you have to say.
Okay, I met Ashwita 15 days ago. I did a Reiki master session with her on May 2nd, where she taught me how to do Reiki. And since that day, in the past 14 days, in exactly 2 weeks, I feel I have a lot more energy. I can eat half the food that I usually used to eat, but still feel the same amount of energy. And I have a lot of blood pressure issues. My blood pressure has come down from 160, 170 to 120, 130.
Wow.
That is amazing. Not only that, after meeting Ashwita, I'm feeling a lot more intelligent.
Wow.
That you just can't help.
Wow. That's so nice. Thanks, Bali, for sharing that.
So I take Ashwita as my Guruji. Thank you, Guruji.
Okay, time to turn into the robes that we decided for you. A costume change.
Yeah.
Thanks,
costume
Bali.
change.
And Aryan, like, you can definitely get in touch with Ashwita for more questions. And for everyone who probably has like some questions still left, and unanswered.
Sure.
We can actually bring her back again through another session online. And also, like, you can get in touch with her. And for those who have my number or my social media, you can just ping me and I'll connect you with her. You can take a session, you can talk to her however. And the other thing I want to I think someone has nicely summarized this as amazing insight. She's always so wonderful. We have a fan here, Anjali. Thank you for joining and sharing that comment. It's lovely. However, I would like to also conclude that this is not like propagating something. It is generally getting a perspective. Like, all my sessions are aimed at building a perspective or developing a perspective. So that is the main intention of holding this space for all of you. And I'm so delighted to have Ashwita for this. I mean, she actually nailed every question so patiently. Thanks for answering everything so heartfully, and such nice feeling. And your voice is definitely so amazing to listen to. So thanks everyone for joining. And if you want to attend more of Ashwita sessions, we can actually hold them again. And Ashwita, there's some nice comments for you in the chat. I hope you can.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. So nice.
Yeah, thank you, Vishesh, and thanks everyone. Hope to bring more sessions like this, and hope to stay connected with all of you. And any last message for a COVID and atmosphere world that we are living in? Anything like a quick, nice thing to remember these difficult times for all of us out here? You have a message for us. Thank you, Bali. That's a nice one. And anything from you, Ashwita, that you would like to share with all of us, like a message to all of us?
Well, it's on a larger scale. This is amazing stuff that is happening. A lot of flushing, cleansing is happening. It's not necessarily pleasant, but I would just say be present. I like that this too shall pass thing. It helped me tide over at certain point, but it takes you away from the present. Be present. It's not always easy. It's not always nice. And trust me, as a healer, I hear a lot more deaths than you do. I mean, I'm the sort of person who stayed away from the news for years. And now all I'm doing is, every morning I'm hearing about 3 new deaths. It's just 10 minutes before the session, someone told me, Ashwita, he's dead, it's over.
Oh,
So it's like,
yeah, this has happened with me also. Like it's
Yeah,
a really strange time.
yeah, no, because everyone reaches out to me for healing. So the moment people get sick or die, I know I'm the first one to know, right?
Right.
So it's not necessarily easy. It's not necessarily pleasant, but it's really needed what's happening. I would just say don't give in to fear, I'm not saying don't be afraid. That's not the same thing. I'm just saying don't give in to fear. Whatever decisions you're taking, because people are asking me also, should I get vaccinated? Should I get not? Blah, blah. I'm like, let your body guide you, Don't take action based on fear. That's all. Your body knows, you have your internal radar and that knows. Trust that, Fear, it's not very relevant. And I mean, there's a whole lot of effort being put in to make you afraid because fear turns you into consumers. Fear and lack, basically, right? Is the whole idea of like getting you to just do stuff without any awareness. Don't act without awareness. Practice being in awareness. There's a lot more left. We're not done. And if the faster we focus on learning to be present and in acceptance, the easier this is going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Can
so
I
much.
say something very profound?
Oh God, sure, Bali.
Okay, this is all thanks to Ashwita. I'm feeling a lot more intelligent. COVID
Thank
is
you.
not the disease, it's mankind that's the disease.
Okay, great.
I actually said that. I said, if you look at the, population graph of human beings, it's much more consistent than COVID is. It's proper exponential. I'm like, we are the virus, dude.
Absolutely. That realization is thanks to Ashwita.
Thanks. And lastly, Ashwita, the book that you've written, what's it like quickly? What is your book about? And I will probably share it with everyone who reaches out to me or the link to your book, maybe. What's the title and what is it about?
Well, if you're learning Reiki, the book is free anyway when you learn it. So that's like my mom wrote it when she started teaching Reiki. And then when I started teaching Reiki, I started adding stuff. And by, at one point it was more than 50%. I was like, please make me go author, no, please. So that's the Reiki book. And then there's another one on healing through the elements, which was mostly just intuitive insights about the 5 elements and how they work on our body and stuff. And there are a couple more books. There's one on psychic attacks, which is probably going to be too woo-woo for most of you people. And I mean, I would not recommend a book like that unless you already have some sort of psychic abilities. Otherwise, you just will have no clue what's going on.
Right.
So that is after you have already walked on the energy healing pathway for a while.
So like what do you suggest for beginners? Like Monica's asking which book. So
just pick the Reiki book. Yeah, the Reiki book is fine.
Okay.
Right. A lot of people have told us that when they read that book, actually it help them understand a lot better how Reiki works and stuff.
Interesting. So that book is available on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I will just share the title and the link probably with all of you. That's it. Thank you so much for your time and for your energy and for all the nice words. And I think in these times, it really helps to listen to something positive. Like all of us are going through so much of difficulty in our own ways. So these things, keep us afloat. So thanks everyone for giving in your time to this session and your questions and everything. It was really lovely hosting all of you and Ashwita. Until we meet next, let's all stay in touch and stay safe. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Thanks, Ashwita. See you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.